Ladies and gentlemen, this is Aaron Smith and I Can't Lose, episode 4. Happy Friday to all. I'm in a good mood. I hope you're in a good mood. Well, a lot of Republicans are not in a good mood because what happened yesterday. Brett Kavanaugh, Shirley basically Ford. I know a lot of people have been talking about it, and I guess I can't really, get around it. So I'll just get to it. Early Thursday morning, during the confirmation hearings of Trump's pick to be the next Supreme Court Justice, Brett Kavanaugh was grilled, quite literally, by Democrats in the Judiciary Committee for accusations of sexual abuse. And quite honestly, it's crazy. Only three people that would know what really went on is him, the ladies, and God. Honestly, that's just my opinion. But she came in there and she looked like very emotional. It could be for anybody, and for honestly anyone who has the courage to pour their heart out to strangers. Congress is obviously strangers to her, and just talk about something very tragic that happened in her life. It is alleged until it's proven innocent. That's for everybody. But something about the guy makes me uneven, personally. And something like, this is my thing. What is the big deal about rushing him in and getting a vote? It's not like he's 100 years old. He's not going anywhere. Like, what's the big deal? I didn't get this shit when Obama was trying to get his pick in, but that's a different story. Quite honestly, it's fucking bullshit. And they're just trying to push him through, and now finally they grew some common sense, or somebody was like, oh yeah, let them just get this through. And they went to go do a vote today. I think that was earlier today. Before I left the house, I saw the news. They were trying to do a vote, but it was stalled by Republican Senator Jeff Flake from Arizona, who actually said he will vote for Kavanaugh, even though these accusations are still up in the air and have to be investigated. With this guy, seriously, if he has nothing to hide and he thinks that he ain't do shit, then let them do the fucking investigation. Let them go over it. Let it get it done, so that, okay, if it is what she says is wrong and the FBI finds it out, then fine. But if it turns out that you are a slimy piece of shit, then you're going to have to deal with it. You're crying. You're acting like a little bitch. I'm there's nothing wrong with a grown man crying, but for real reasons. You're crying because you just might have got caught out. I had joked about, funny enough, I joked with my friend yesterday. I think I posted on my Facebook. You can follow me on The Aaron Smith on IG and Facebook. Aaron L. Smith is a YouTube channel. And there was a joke I had did. It got actually kind of good reviews. I basically said, Kavanaugh's not trying to snitch on himself to the FBI because he doesn't want to be Bill Cosby's roommate or cellmate, whatever the fuck. Same shit. But I let just get this done. Get an investigation. They're rushing that too. They said the FBI has a week to get it to them. What the fuck? What is the big deal? Investigations take whenever they feel like it's enough time. That's why Mueller is taking his time. I don't understand what why they have to just keep pressing and all that other stuff. I think maybe honestly the jig might be up. A lot of people are pissed off, not just at Democrats and not just at Democrats, regular liberals, I guess you could call them, and Republicans as well. But the thing is that people notice when you're full of shit. If you have common sense and a brain and you know that somebody's talking something that ain't true, then that means you're not full of shit. And you know what's going on. So the problem, I think, is this. Like I said, let them do what the hell they got to do. Let them finish their thing. Let them feel what they got to do. Just let them get it done. That's the only way to put this whole rest to bed, to basically make it, either way, the way it turns out, whether he did it or not, this will be done. And, there's a small possibility that he might have did it. Like I said, I don't know. I'm not God. I wasn't there. I don't think it was 1982. That was a year before I was born. So, I mean, how the hell would I know? But yeah, big shout out to Christine Blasey Ford for being, courageous and, brave enough to basically do that, because there are a lot of women out there that are, still debating whether or not they want to do so, or if that's going to jeopardize themselves, being as that Miss Ford had, numerous death threats to her family, friends, co-workers, whatever have you, and Brett Kavanaugh did as well. But the thing is that he's in a higher position in his life than she is, where he can get the protection that he needs. And, the Republicans will take care of him. I'm not saying that Mrs. Ford can't have her own things and stuff like that, but he has more resources at his agenda. He has a lot more things going for him. It's like it's not like he can. I'm sorry, it's not like she can. Get security clearance and all that other bullshit. But like, seriously, the problem is that just let them do what they gotta do. Stop rushing. Ain't nobody going nowhere. Something that y'all ain't telling us. But yeah, that's how I feel it. So I don't know. Fucking ridiculous. This whole thing is ridiculous. And this whole shit, if Trump had some balls, which he really doesn't, and well, according to Stormy Daniels, he doesn't have much of a dick either, but that's for another time. Well, I guess you can read her book or whenever it comes out and all that other stuff. But you know the story. If you're not living under a rock, you know it. Basically, that he said his dick looked like the character from Super Mario Brothers, Toad. I'm like, okay, so he has a big fucking head. So what? And say it's a micro dick, motherfucker. So who cares? Like, you still got 130 grand out of it, But it is what it is. So we're gonna move on, and there's not a lot of like real hardcore like news, because this whole Kavanaugh shit has basically smothered everything else out. Anything outside the hurricanes and the Carolinas dominated the news the past week. But honestly, I don't know what the problem is with doing. I guess they're finally going to do this investigation, but they're still rushing them for a week. So I don't think that's some dumb shit. But let's hope they get it done. Let's see. We'll see. I don't have really any faith in the Republicans and stuff like that. And the Democrats, they ain't got no balls either. Their problem is that they keep going for this the same nickel and dime shit, and then people are going to keep buying it. And people are tired of it. People are tired of both sides, like I said. And no one, something has to be done. Something, you want to talk about change and all that, gradual change and all that stuff like that, then, do it, don't sugarcoat. Just because you're the minority doesn't mean you ain't got power. You can do something. But there's a lot of, people like outside, these socialists, whatever, Democratic socialists, whatever have you, that are out there, winning elections and all that stuff. So we'll see. I mean, like I said, I don't want to make my show too much about this freaking guy. He kind of reminds me of a math teacher that failed me in high school. So fuck him. I mean, fuck him anyway, because he just looks creepy. But let's move on. So I think it was something. Like I said, I'm not really into like the rap, hip hop thing. I'm not. I'm pretty much old school. I I grew up in the '80s and was raised in the early '90s. So this whole mumble rap and this whole bullshit, I can't really get into it because I don't know what the fuck you're saying. So if I can't understand what you're saying, I can't hear you. And but I guess someone that associates with mumble rappers, there was some whole thing with Drake and Kim Kardashian and Get Out to Kanye West. Yeah, um, something about there's a rumor that she made this stuff for Drake or whatever have you and all that kind of shit. Like my thing with Kanye is like, dude, you knew what you were getting into when you married this female. You know her reputation. You know what she's about. You try to turn a hoe into a housewife, and look what you got. You got a couple of nice kids. You got some kids out of it. You got some kids. That's cool. That's fine. But if she did it, she didn't. Like whoever gives a fuck. You're married. You got her. So, but if she's doing it still, then I don't know. Like you a sucker. I mean, you're a clown anyway. Quite honestly. I used to have respect for you. I used to enjoy your music. But ever since you started with Trump and all that bullshit, like I said, I said, I said, well, he'd rather work in the house than be in the field. But anyway, let's move on. Um, and then last week, there was, I had my friend Lisa Harmon on the show. Um, remember, just letting everybody know that I won't be here next week. I have two shows coming up October 5th. That'll be next Friday. One is 7 p.m. at the Broadway Comedy Club. That's 318 West 53rd Street in Manhattan, New York City, 7 p.m. It's going to be a very funny show. I got my homegirl, Valetice Clapper. She was on The View, Modern Housewives. She's on New Jersey club scene comedy. She's hilarious. She'll have you knocking off your socks. Lawrence Owens is headlining. So it should be very fun. Then I'm going to go down the way, not too far from there, on Eminem Studios, 10th Avenue. I believe that's 53rd Street. I'm not too sure. I'll double check that. But where me and my good friend from the Boys Choir, Harlem, I don't know. I don't think I've told you this, but I used to sing with the Boys Choir, Harlem, many, many years ago. I don't sing anymore. Puberty kick in, so whatever have you. But Amaria Costa, Eminem Studios Art Heroes Project, and that is at 9 p.m. at Eminem Studios. Should be a good time. Both shows. Check them out if you can. We would appreciate it. So, not really much happened over the weekend. But last thing I do remember from last show is that I briefly touched on, my sister. She was having issues with a job that had not tried to pay her, and it was this fucking douchey, ditzy, ritzy like thing downtown, and it's supposed to be like Afro Fusion Feud, but I don't see nothing but colonizers in there. So you tell me. But I think it was called Burbage Food Street or some crap. But they weren't trying to pay her, but she called me and she told me that they did give her her money eventually, and they mailed the check. So no one has to have any problems. So I appreciate it. But, that they, had the decency to actually do that and to not do any dumb shit where it's not paying, whether you're on the books, off the books or not. You work, you need to get paid. You don't dick people. But the problem is that mostly with these people who come from Africa and they come here, they look down on as African Americans, and that's unfortunate because ain't we all in the same gang? Like, what is the problem? What have you? But I remember a joke a long time ago. Paul Mooney said, you ain't come back for us. But you came with some gold watches and some fake Gucci bags and you try to sell them. So, fuck all that. But good that they actually did pay, and that I'm actually happy for that. But you know what? Fuck you. Still, you're a piece of shit. Your wife's a piece of shit. I never met you, and I never want to. And quite honestly, your food probably sucks, and that's probably the reason why real people don't go in there. So we're gonna take a quick break. Gonna talk a little bit more. I have Rachel Parenta coming in. She's gonna call in and talk about her comedy album, and we're also gonna debate whether it's easier to be a physicist or to be a stand-up comedy. Tune in. You don't want to miss. This is Aaron Smith on the FLO Network.
Your reign on the top is short like leprechauns as I crush all you whack MCs and rapper thugs. That was refreshing. Yeah. You can catch me in the Mecca, looking so mean. Blue Yankee fitted while I'm chilling with my team. Madison Square on the sideline screaming. Coach put me in and I'm on, now I'm beasting. Hands in the air, I wanna see you keep 'em high. Put your hands in the air, I wanna see you keep 'em high. Put your hands in the air, I wanna see you keep 'em high. Oh yeah. Yo, you can catch me on the front line, looking like a sergeant. BX, all the way to Jersey, will be marching. SB, Cool D, Mellow, bring the squad in. Call me Ray Moses with the flow that I be parting. Pardon me while I shoot for the art when a nigga draws. I'm Ray Charles, eyes sharp when a nigga saw. Come on, dog, you can see a nigga paw. Feeling like fuck the world, my emotions too raw. My name rings bells, I'm kicking down your door. Think you super fly, I put you in disguise like a luchador. So international, my thoughts are on tour. Shorty loves the swag, gotta slurp it through the super straw. Your shit was hot about a week ago. I'm AC mixed with Zach, you still screeching though. You can hate, you still peeping though. I be riding through my old hood, mama. Now it's time to get it in, so yeah, I'ma do me. Heard they wanted me to win, so yeah, I'ma do me. Heard you thought that I was slacking, well it's time to do me. Shorty wants that satisfaction, well it's time to do me. Put your hands in the air, I wanna see you keep 'em high. Put your hands in the air, I wanna see you keep 'em high. Put your hands in the air, I wanna see you keep 'em high. Put your hands in the air, I wanna see you keep 'em high. Yeah. Fly nigga catch me with a shorty. I'm from the Bronx when my nigga still pop a 40. Puerto Rican call me Barty. Shorty called the dick that is too gaudy. Yeah, this game I'm about to kick got me feeling like some salt that your bitch about to lick. Like some alcohol, I'm about to liquor in this bitch. Then I'm out to the store to cop me a soda and the chick gon' still grinding. I bet them red lights make you stop. It's my time, boy. I've been ticking like a watch. I'ma push the pen. At the end, it's all about respect. I'm ahead of mine's how I'm standing on top of next. Wow. Pure bars if you rewind it. Say I'm ahead of mine, I guess I have to remind it. My bad, you had to decline it. You wasn't all that, it's time to fall back. Now it's time to get it in, so yeah, I'ma do me. Heard they wanted me to win, so yeah, I'ma do me. Heard you thought that I was slacking, well it's time to do me. Shorty wants that satisfaction, well it's time to do me. Put your hands in the air, I wanna see you keep 'em high. Put your hands in the air, I wanna see you keep 'em high. Put your hands in the air, I wanna see you keep 'em high. Put your hands in the air, I wanna see you keep 'em high. Who else? The shit is poppin'. All you other rappers know your shit is flopping. Hollybugs, this shit is knocking. They sending shots, I'ma tumble with the blocking. I'm not the type to talk about I pump lead or this money. I'm trying to double up like bunk beds. I'm tired of living life broke, fuck that. This money I must stash like it's under the nose. Hold up. Ray getting funky on them. Let's rock Al Bundy on them, funny on them. I go bananas, I'm a monkey on them. I'm addicted to rap. Guess what? I'm a junkie on them. I'm causing riots when the rally starts. And one when I cross lines like tally marks. Ray Pearson, I ain't with the slacking. You can call this satisfaction. Now it's time to get it in. So yeah,
We're back. My mom doesn't like when I curse a lot. He's like, why you curse so much in your comedy and all that other stuff? I'd be like, well, It's not like I don't curse a lot in it. It's just that it's pretty much, something that I do, so like verbs and adverbs and libs and stuff like that. It just goes with it. Like I was trying to do clean comedy. I know I was offered to do that one time. It's not like I can't do it. It's just that I won't. Like I said, this is how I regularly speak and how I talk. With my friends and my family, I use most of my, stories in my life and things that have happened that I thought was funny. So, and most of the time, well, I say kind of all the time, is that I it is funny and people do like it and they enjoy it. And if you don't like it, whatever, to you too. Remember, this is Aaron Smith Can't Lose, and that's why the reason why I named it that. I'm here to talk my mind. I'm here to speak my passion, and I'm not worried about nobody or nothing. So, besides, who the hell gives a shit? It's probably like maybe like 2 people watching. I don't know, stuff like that. It's Friday. That stuff. This will be on YouTube a little later. Should be fun. But waiting for Rachel to call in a few minutes. But until then. What else went down? I guess the Giants got their first win. That's cool. They had almost blew it, like they always do. But they won. Jets lost. And big game Saturday. It's not really for any records or any playoffs of that, but in Queens City Field, like tomorrow, I don't know what time the game is, but. David Wright, who's been the captain of the New York Mets for many years, he was diagnosed with spinal stenosis, and he has been forced to retire. And that's very unfortunate because he was the heart and soul of the team. But he will be playing his final game tomorrow. I wish I could get tickets, but I would have to take my leg, my right toe, and my left testicle to buy them. So I'm not going to do that. I'll watch it probably on TV and cheer him on. He's also always been one of my favorite players, in baseball and period. And big shout out to the Yankees, even though I can't stand them. They put like a whole ad out for him and the newspaper today here in New York. And, basically, giving him props and stuff like that. And I really appreciated that, even though they're the evil empire. But, cool. Big shout out to them. Other than that, like I said, this is the Aaron Smith podcast, and you can't lose. Like I said, the whole Brett Kavanaugh shit is like mind-boggling. Like it really, I think I was going back to like the Anita Hill, Clarence Thomas thing. I think I was about. What happened, like 91, 92, I'm not sure. But I was still very young, and I didn't really know what's going on. And I think, like, my mother, she really, I don't know if she even told me about it, but looking at it now, it does kind of remind you of that, what she went through. And they were trying to compare and contrast to both. And quite honestly, it's all in the same basket. And, she was very courageous as well, telling her story and being honest with herself and to others and to the Congress and everybody, all that shit. But they still let Clarence in. And I said another joke, and some people might not like it, but I really don't care. But if Kavanaugh does get picked, at least you'll have gross sex stories to talk to with Clarence. They're both 2 pieces of crap, so quite honestly, it is what it is. But I'm not so sure if Brett is going to get in. I don't know, think about that. But I've been wrong before, so who knows? Quite honestly, it is what it is. Oh, man. But, that, pretty much dominated, the news. It's dominating my show because I can't keep talking about it. There are people still talking, people running their mouths. So, it is what it is. Fuck him, fuck the Republicans. They all ain't shit. Democrats ain't shit either. Oh, I'm in a mood today. I'm on fire. Oh, man, I can't wait. Woo. I might say something I might regret. Oh well, we're live, so it is what it is. You have a caller? Oh, okay. Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, it's Rachel Parenta calling in for 8:30.
All right, you're on time. Oh, you got a minute to spare. Look at that shit. Hey, Rachel, how's it going?
It's going all right. How's it going with you?
That's all. It's Friday. I'm hanging out, on the show. Got my people over there, holding it down, taking care of the good old podcast. So, how you doing?
I'm all right. If anyone knows on your show how to format a external hard drive on a Mac
Oh,
after it says it's too big, their hard drive's too big and its partition's failing something, let Alan know.
I don't know if I can help you with that, sweetheart. I would say Google it, and to go from there. I mean, Apple's full of shit anyway. I mean, and this is my personal opinion. I think I had like an iPhone 3 back in the day, but I can't do it. It's too complicated for me. I'm Chromatic.
I agree with you. I am a PC person. My husband is a Mac person, but I'm going to download video file, and he bought the Adobe Creative Suite package a while ago when he was a student, so he got a student rate. So if I have to do video projects, I have to do it on his computer. This is the problem.
Gee, you might have to get that to an IT. Do you have any Asians that live around you? No, let me stop. But you have a comedy album coming, recording tomorrow, I'm sure, that you told me?
Yeah, tomorrow at 8 p.m. in Jersey City at Monty Hall. Monty Hall is owned by the independent radio station FMU. If you try listening to FMU with an antenna, you have to be right next to the place to get the signal, but they have a big online presence. Their online radio station is.
Oh, so you gotta get the bunny ears and all that?
Well, they're like you don't have to because you can listen to it via the internet, but if you try to listen to it in your car, good luck with that because
they didn't switch over.
Their signal is terrible.
Oh man, they gotta get with the digital age. Come on, this thing. But good luck with that. Congratulations. I'm not that far in my comedy career between the album, somewhere down the line. But big shout out to you. If you are in the area, please go check it out. Very funny lady, very hilarious. We did a show with Latisse Clapper not too long ago. That's how when I first met you.
Oh yeah.
And, it was pretty cool.
At Broadway.
Yeah, my favorite place. And I was being sarcastic. The show knows. Everybody that knows me. But anyway, yeah. So we were talking about, there's a couple of things that you wanted to talk and speak on in the show, and I was telling the engineer, she thought it was kind of funny. So you said something about it's easier to be a physicist than to be a stand-up comic. Could you talk on that?
Oh, yeah, I will talk on that. I will talk on that for 3 hours.
Well, unfortunately, we only have about 10-15 minutes, but do it the best you can.
Yeah, but if I were a physicist, I could bend time and space, but that's okay. Here's the thing. One, no one wants to be a physicist, right? So if there's a physicist job open and you happen to study, even if you got like a D, you get that job. You're going to get one of the physicist jobs.
Right.
That's it. You're going to get a physics job because no one wants to do it. How many stand-up comedians are there? Like, just in Jersey City, I can name like 20, and it's not even really New York. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, you're right. There's a whole bunch of them. Majority of them are not really good, but they draw money, and they said that because most of the clubs and most of the producers, they're all about the money anyway. They're not about the craft and not about stuff like that. But that's for another show at another time. But yeah, there are. I mean, I think I failed what is it called? Is it called
Physics?
Oh, I failed that shit in high school. I think I got a D+ or some shit like that.
You probably, with your D+, could be a physicist. This is my point. There's no competition. No one wants to do it. Okay.
What about an F-? I think that's more accurate.
F-. I mean, the only reason I feel like the only thing stopping you from doing physics is you. That's what I'm saying. Like, you got the F-. You probably got the F- because you're not very interested in it, which few people are, which is why it's easy It's easy stuff. Now, the other part of this, all right, now think about this. Stand-up comedy, right? You get up on stage, you're doing your thing. Now, how many people in the audience think they could just do what you do if they just weren't scared of public speaking, right? They're like, I could, like, no one looks at a ballerina and goes, oh, I could do that if I wasn't scared of being in public, like dancing. No, but they look at, because it looks like we're just talking. So they're like, yeah, I could do that, whatever. Also, everyone knows what is funny, right? Like,
Well,
everyone has
I
a sense
mean,
of humor. Maybe this is the thing. Like, whether we all agree on what's funny is one thing, but everyone has an opinion on what's funny, right?
well, I was
No
gonna.
one has an
Mhm.
opinion on E equals MC squared. Like, they're scared. It's like there's an equal sign, there's multiplication. People get scared. They're just math, and they run.
Well, I also had this joke that Einstein had to be really like high on some good weed because who could come up with this M equals C squared shit? Like, he had to basically come out of his brain with that motherfucker. But you're right. I actually was going to say that everybody's humor is different, and there are different. There's a whole lot of genres and all that stuff for that, and I'm cool with that. My problem is that, like you said, there are some people that think they can do this, and they're terrible. And but my thing is like, I have I don't know if anybody knows this about me, but I suffer from really bad anxiety, and you wouldn't know it if I was on stage. And the thing is that I just like drown out. Like once I'm there, I'm there. Like I zone out everybody out, and I'm focused, and I do what I got to do. But a lot of people, I'm not sure if they can do that.
Right. Right. There is. Well, so that's my point. Is that comedy takes a certain amount of it takes years of doing it to develop the craft of and the skill set of writing jokes, understanding setup, punchline. Even if that punchline isn't always words, sometimes it's intonation, sometimes it's physical, whatever. But understanding there's a setup and then there's a misdirect that is unexpected in some sort of way that gets the laugh, right? The disconnect. You have to understand how to create that and recreate it again
Right.
and again.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
But when you're good at it, it looks like you're just talking.
Right. I mean.
Okay. And when people see you just talking, but being funny, they're like, oh man, if I just wasn't scared of public speaking, I could do that. But no one looks as a physicist and goes, oh, that, because they just see math, and Americans especially get so scared about math.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God, no, they must be brilliant. But we don't know that they're brilliant. We have no idea because no one understands what they're talking about. Everyone understands what we're talking about, so they know if we suck or don't, because they either laugh or they don't. That's
Right.
why what we do is harder.
I agree with that. I mean, the whole thing with the physicist, and I can't even say that name right, but whatever. Close enough. The math and the formulas, and I agree with these people that we live in from America. They're not worried about calculations and stuff. They're worried about dollar signs. So you get a lot of better, more important, smarter people that are physicists around the world that come from different countries, and I totally agree with that. And my problem is that, like with comedy, and physics, they study for a long time. It's not like you can just
But
get up.
Do they study for a long time? We don't know.
Well, I'm not
We don't
talking about
understand
American physicists. I'm pretty sure those dudes from Japanese, ever since they get out the womb, you doctor, they have no choice. But I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong. It is what it is. But
we don't know what's going on in that particle accelerator. They tell us that things are happening in that particle accelerator, but we don't know. No one can vet them. That's my point. If I tell you I'm a comedian and then you come see my show at 8 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday, September 29th at Monty Hall in Jersey City, if you come see that show, you will tell me, because you know what comedy is. And you'll say, oh, you suck, or no, you don't suck. I thought that was great. I go to a particle accelerator. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. This is maybe just a ruse so everyone gets to go to Germany on a free vacation from their college, sending them there for research, whatever.
True. I mean,
Air quotes on the research.
well, I gotta get a physicist on the show then. Shit, I'll work on that. I don't really know anybody. I mean, I'll Google it. Facebook. I don't know. Everybody's on that piece of shit. But yeah. I probably should. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's dead now, but I will get my old physics teacher who failed me. But You know, he was 1,000 then, so I'm pretty sure he's like dust like from an Infinity War now. So
But maybe you were doing physics right, and your physics teacher really didn't know anything about physics, but no one was able to vet him, and so he's like, oh, I don't know what, I just failed this kid. Like, I don't know. Someone's got to fail.
well,
You know
it
what I'm
really
saying?
wasn't. I don't think. Well, I was kind of like I could have did a lot better in high school, especially in that class. I mean, but the thing was is that he was so fucking boring, and like he had that monotone voice. So how the hell am I supposed to stay up like in class and pay attention when you're talking like this? And this is how you do it. And so I'm like, yeah, where the pillow at? Like this is ridiculous. You know, like it's time. Is it time for lunch? You know, I couldn't wait till the bell rang. I had to get the fuck out of there. But yeah, I'm gonna work on getting a physicist on the show. I'll let you know about that.
All right. I want, because I've been on a lot of job interviews in my day, right, man?
Hmm.
And I am now witnessing them trying to hire like a physics professor at a college. And you know what? They get a hotel room. They get free airfare. They're going to be taken out to lunch. They're going to get They're going to get free dinner. I'm like, I've never. Like, well, how come secretaries have like the worst job ever, right? It's like the worst. It's not the worst job ever, but it's on the top 10 of
Close
crappy
enough.
jobs.
I think
Like, 'cause
anybody that has to go on the elephant's ass and clean it, that's a way worse their job.
that is a bad job, but I feel like they only take shit from the elephant, where a secretary has to take shit from everybody.
True.
but
But
right?
yeah, I give you
Yeah.
that. I give you that.
I don't know. I guess my point is I have to work with physicists these days, and I think that they think who they are, and they're not who they are. They're way they gotta take a step back ego wise, because anyone who studies physics can do what they do, because it takes, but there's no one because no one studies physics. This is my point. It's way harder to become a baseball player. It's way harder to even do IT. Like, there's more people who want to do IT. Those jobs are harder to find.
Well, I always said if I wanted to play baseball, I play right field because no one ever hits the right field. I'm gonna be hanging out in the sun, get my shades on, talk to fans, probably eat some popcorn. But yeah, definitely that didn't work out. I was cracking a joke. I know my mother's probably watching. But when I was I was in little league and I was really good. But I learned the art of cussing, and she had to take me out. So who knows? I could have been a contender. Who knows? But it is what it is. Love you, ma. But yeah, I mean the whole thing with stand up, and like I said, it's rough. And you know, I see why anybody that sells any illicit drugs gets a whole lot of money out of our genre. You know, like quite honestly.
Well, I'll tell you this: if you were buying drugs, right, you take your drugs, and then you know if you're high or not. Where, like, again, not to harp on this, but if someone tells you some mathematical equation, you just be like, I don't know if it's right, but you know if the drug dealer's doing his job or not. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, if you know it's the good shit, then yeah, you're gonna go back. If it's not, then you know you go have to find somebody else.
That's right.
You know,
But
I
you
went.
don't know if that scientist is doing the good science. You're like, I don't know if the physicist is doing the good physics. I don't know. I don't know if he's got the good physics. He might be selling oregano physics. Do you know what I'm saying?
True.
It's oregano physics, and no one would know.
Yeah, that's funny. It actually reminds me of a story in the news where they had a guy. I don't know who it was. A whole bunch of guys, and he raided a marijuana dispensary, and they ended up with like oregano. Like I thought that was the funniest thing ever. Like if that's if not that that's the ultimate gotcha, like that, I don't know what is. I thought that was so hilarious. I mean, they probably thought they was going around with some really good stuff, and I mean, well, they got seasoning for days. They'll be all right. I don't know. They'll figure it out. But big shout out to those that dispensary. That was hilarious. Oh man. But so quite briefly, what I mean, you know, it's in the news. It's nothing that we can like avoid. What are your thoughts on this whole Brett Kavanaugh shit?
Man, listen, he should not be the Supreme Court justice because of all of the things in his professional life that I feel disqualify him. Like, one, clearly being very partisan, not even being able to pretend to be open-minded, which you're supposed to be. Like, you're supposed to be persuaded by legal arguments. Like, that's the point of the whole judiciary system. I feel like he didn't handle himself well in this what's it called? In this hearing that he just had about the sexual misconduct.
Right. Yeah, it was on yesterday. It was like on for the whole day.
Yeah,
much.
and that's the thing. Like, people, and I think that here's the thing. She's telling the truth, but the point is he could also be telling the truth, and that he doesn't remember it because if you I've killed many bugs in my day, but I think that's not a crime. It's insignificant to me, so it doesn't leave a mark on my memory. And if you don't think like forcing a woman to do or to kind of, even if you were kidding in your attack or whatever, you don't think that's a big deal, why would you remember doing it? Do you know what I'm saying?
True that. I mean, I give a quick shout out to Dr. Ford, like I said earlier in the show, for having the balls, because Kavanaugh definitely doesn't have a set, but she had a huge set on her, and just going out there and just telling her, pouring her heart out and everything like that. But I do agree with you. I do not think this gentleman belongs on the Supreme Court. But unfortunately, that's not up to you and I. So we'll see.
No, there's nothing. There's. I mean, it's funny. I heard today that some people were protesting outside of Chuck Schumer's office.
Why? That's
and
a waste of time.
But he's already going to vote no. What are we doing? Why are we wasting our time? Holding a protest in front of a Democratic senator who's going to vote no. He's not going to, but it doesn't matter, they're outnumbered, you need to, drive to New Hampshire and go outside that guy,
Right. But my thing is, well, I'm sorry to cut you off, but the thing with these, protesting, and it's starting to get fucking cold. I came in with, a jacket and a long sleeve shirt. It's 50 degrees in here. Last week it was 80. This is pneumonia weather. I'm what the fuck? So, you got a lot of these people, especially these SJWs, social justice warriors, that just want to do things just to do things. And, I mean, you want to protest, the best thing to do is to go out there November 6th and go and vote. And if you don't, well, then that's on you, literally.
That's true. No. You gotta vote. That is one thing that I find distressing. Not that this is not going to be at all funny, but there's a lot of women who talk about, I should say this. I saw someone talk about how the reason she didn't report a sexual crime is because no one believed, she didn't get any support, socially when it first happened, it was a long time ago. And she's nothing's ever going to change. And that made me disheartened because we can't live this way. We can't live where we're just accepting that the criminal justice system isn't there for victims of crime, and that's sexual crime. But it's also even if you're mugged or your stuff is stolen, the cops freaking whatever. The only thing they seem to care about maybe is if certain people are murdered, maybe, And how do we fix that? We're in a democracy, so it's not hopeless. It might take a while, but you have to we have to put pressure on local governments. It's not always just about the president. Who's your mayor? Who's your council person? Because these are the people in charge of the police.
Oh, I met the mayor.
How do we get them to, change the way we handle victims? Because then we can have sex crimes mean something. People be accountable, and then if someone is attacked, they can go to the police. Do you know what I'm saying? And it won't be just a shit show.
I hear you. It seems like the only time anybody is concerned about sex crimes is when it's on Wednesday nights or Thursday nights on NBC. I think they're in their 20th year of Law and Order SVU. So,
and the real police in New York City have been known not to be, of the SVU unit, have been known not to be as quite as sensitive and caring as the ones on television.
I hear you. Well, look at that. Well, we're gonna have to wrap it up with you a little bit. I'd love to talk to you a little bit more, but we're running out of time. So once again, could you please tell the good people where your comedy recording will be at, what time, and everything all like that?
So it's 8 p.m. tomorrow. It's at Monty Hall, which is 43 Montgomery Street, Jersey City, New Jersey, hosted by the one and only Calvin Cato, with special guest appearances by Tom Nevin and Hillary Schwartz. And I will be recording an album of 45 minutes to an hour in length. So I will not be doing any physics material. It'll all be dating, marriage, home ownership, jobs.
Close enough.
So close enough.
Right. I mean, if you deal with marriage, you don't have to be a physicist. I did that before, but maybe we'll do it again. Maybe I will do it again. I'm not sure. We'll see. But that's for another show. Rachel, thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate that. And good luck. Good luck tomorrow and Knock 'em Dead. I look forward to hearing your recording.
Thank you, and thanks so much for having me on, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Anytime. All right. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
All right. We're going to wrap it up real quick. And what we're going to do is do two real quick things. The dude of the week and the douche of the week. Shout out to my boy Ryan Mahoney. It's his birthday today. I've known Ryan over 20 years. Most of our friendships have lasted longer than most people's marriages, and I guess they could say that most people that know me and Ryan is kind of like a marriage, no homo. So big shout out to my boy. I have to run out of here and go hang out with him. Shout out to him. I'll hang out, and yeah, I just fucked up. It doesn't matter. It's just Aaron Smith can't lose. So I can do what I say and say what I want, and it doesn't matter. But I don't really have a douchebag or douche of the week, so I guess I'll get to that next week. Actually, no, I won't be here next week. I have two shows. October 5th, that's next Friday. It will be Broadway Comedy Club, 7 p.m. Eminem Studios, 9 p.m. You can check everything out on my website, everything on D. Aaron Smith, Facebook, IG, D. Aaron Smith, Aaron L. Smith. It's my YouTube channel. I want to thank everybody for talking. I want to thank everybody for coming. And shake a shout out to Rachel for calling in. Once again, this is Aaron Smith Can't Lose. I will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you and good night.
Tell me what makes the world go round. Tell me what makes the world go round. Is it money, sex, drugs, bullets, knives, guns? How could that be stronger than love? Tell me what makes the world go round. Tell me what makes the world go round. Is it money, sex, drugs, bullets, knives, guns? How could that be? Sometimes I wonder if my mother ever languishes, that my tongue don't know any Indian and foods or in languages. She make the stove smell like curry and dosa. I make the microwave smell like the jambalaya that I would rather go for. And I'm no closer to penetrating the meaning of my brownness that's engraved in the very codes of my DNA. Written in Sanskrit and Tamil, but I don't have the patience to understand these secondhand translations. So it looks like I'm co-oping movies, carrying banners, reading Black Lives Matter while questioning my importance. I'm from where the police trade blues for white hoods and choose to interpret laws with the claws of habeas corpses. It's why they paint us as worthless, painfully forcing us these black and brown baby abortions several years out of the womb. We can't live long enough to see ourselves become a villain, cause every dark night we're dying heroes far too soon. And in no ways it's a diss to all my homies on track, but we need to be bigger than rap when they in lyrics on wax. They give us wings, we fly too close to the sun, then we fall and crash down to an earth that we don't recognize at all. Same world where a boy shot in his own home dies in his father's arms, blood spills on his hands, you hear the distant ambulance alarms, red and blue lights flash in the window, adrenaline rushes, he screams, bring my son's killer to justice, cause now he has to answer questions he never dreamed they were asking. Funeral arrangements and open and closed casket, the real meaning of fresh to death, boy rocking a suit freshly pressed, hair neatly combed, bullet holes closed, my mama holds his mother's trembling hand. Perfect stranger, save a common ground that every parent understands. Sees herself in her, me and that boy who looks like he's peacefully sleeping. That I could be like him is the reason I know she's weeping. Now I got a question for y'all. Tell me what makes the world go round. Tell me what makes the world go round. Is it money, sex, drugs, bullets, knives, guns? How could that be stronger than love? Tell me what makes the world go round. Tell me what makes the world go round. stronger than love.
Contemplating when my life is gone. Looking back at all my rights and wrongs. Keep it 100, reflected in the mirror.